Hi guys, welcome back. It's UK here. Couple of questions. Looking for your points of view, basically, on this. I've just been reading over on the Paizo Pathfinder forums, and two topics sort of caught my eye. Two things to which I feel quite strongly for, at least for my games, and I posted on these. And I thought, this might be a good topic to get people's points of view on. And that is, well, actually, I'll split them up. You've probably seen from the post up there that this is gods and robots. Firstly, the first topic was about gods, and do gods need to be statted in your fantasy role-playing game? And there were various different points of view on this, because you've got people like myself who say they're gods. We don't need stats, they're beyond the nature of stats. If the god wants to do something, it can do it, providing it's not opposed to its sphere of influence. For example, a god of the sea isn't going to take revenge on the coastal village by burning it down. He's going to raise up the sea or cause an earthquake or something like that. And certainly there's no way that player characters could ever fight or defeat them. Either they're just too powerful, or gods are, for lack of a better term, thought forms or energies. They're not something that can be actually handled or dealt with. That's how I tend to view gods. When an avatar appears, it's still a manifestation of that god. It still has that god's powers. So, you can run up with your +5 sword of smiting and it will just go bong and bounce off, and the god will just go smack. But then you have people whose point of view is that, quite frankly, if a god manifests, why can't characters deal with them? Why can't, or other gods even, for that matter? Because there's plenty of references in mythology to gods being taken out by monsters or other gods or heroes or villains or whatever. So it's an interesting dynamic. Which take do you go with? As I said, I prefer the concept that gods are not something that can be destroyed like that. Demigods, yes, because demigods are either the children of gods and mortals, so technically they're still kind of mortal-ish, or they're somebody who's elevated themselves up to godhood. Characters like Vecna, for instance, in the old Greyhawk setting, to me would be a demigod, because he has elevated himself to that level, but he still came from those humble mortal roots, so which means he should still be able to put up a fight. So interesting to see what you think on that. Second one was robots and technology. This actually came about in a discussion for what do people want to see in the Pathfinder Bestiary 4 when it comes out, probably next year. And I posted more what I don't want to see, which was no more anthropomorphic animals. Can't stand things like that. Panda people, cat people, rat people, crow people. There's only so much space you can fit intelligent humanoids into a game world. I said, if possible, if you can't use the classic D&D monsters, beholders, displacer beasts and so forth, because Wizards of the Coast are a pain in the backside, then create an equivalent. It doesn't have to be exact, but it gives an equivalent. And I also said no more technological beasties. Now, the reason this all came up, because one of the books coming out, I think in this month, December or January, something like that, is a inner sea bestiary. It's going to have whereas the bestiaries themselves are generic. If you're not playing Golarion, fine. But if you are, this is a book of monsters found purely in the inner sea region of Golarion. They're built into the setting almost. And one of the things I've said, there will be the technological monsters from, I think the country's called Nymeria. It's basically around where a spacecraft crashed in centuries past, and there's technological monsters and things like this running around, cults devoted to this arcane technology, and instead of having like wands and things like that, people have laser pistols which work exactly like a wand, except it uses charges. It's just a gun rather than a pistol, rather than a wand rather. But to me, technological stuff doesn't belong in fantasy. You wouldn't see this sort of thing appearing in the worlds of Middle Earth or what's it called, Aragon or whatever. It's not going to happen. And there was someone on there saying, "Oh, but robots and lasers and stuff have been in D&D from the beginning." And I said, "Well, no, it hasn't. There was a module, Expedition to the Barrier Peaks, which involved a crashed spacecraft. It's probably where Paizo have taken the concept from Nymeria, or whatever it's called, to give people that like that a region to play. But that's it. I can't recall anything else. I mean, there probably might have been one or two, but I can't remember anything else where technology, or you had robots or lasers or whatever in D&D. And for me, it doesn't work. It's one of those things that would destroy the immersion, the verisimilitude of being in a sword and sorcery fantasy setting. But both of these topics on their forum seem to have sparked a little bit of interest and backwards and forwards of different points of view and so forth. So I'm just curious what your thoughts are. Throw out to people's RPG community and everybody else watching this. What are your thoughts on whether gods should they be statted? Can they be killed by characters? And what are your thoughts on having technological items or monsters or whatever in a sword and sorcery fantasy setting? I look forward to seeing what you guys think. So until next time, take care and good gaming.